because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are, and we have to articulate ourselves, otherwise we would be cows in a field.
Welcome to Cows in the Field. This is a show in which we discuss philosophical themes in popular films. My name is Justin.
I'm Laura.
And today we're going to call in a Greyhawk 10 because it is time to talk one battle after another.
Rise and shine.
Bat an eyelash.
Good morning.
There are no hands on the clock
Why?
because they're not needed.
What time is it?
I don't remember that part. All right, let's just not nitpick over the passwords. This is Bob Ferguson. I was a part of the French 75.
Bitch, I felt like Tony Montana!
Steve Lockjaw just attacked my home. And I cannot remember, for the life of my only child, the answer to your question.
Maybe you should have studied the rebellion text a little harder.
I need to find my daughter.
Well, then call us back when you have the time.
Did you just...
And joining us today, returning guest, Roxana Hadadi from New York Magazine and Vulture. Roxana, welcome back to Cows in the Field.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I literally earlier today I was like, I really need to know what Justin thinks about this movie.
Really?
I'm
Yes,
so honored.
because I feel like I like it very much. I'm like jumping the gun here. I like it very much. I also think it is like sort of a mess in terms of like larger ideas.
We can talk about that.
I was like, what's our organizing principle going to be? How are we
Yes.
going to talk about it?
I do think it's a fun movie to watch, a little bit of a challenging movie to think about and talk about, and I think
Mhm.
that's something we will get into. I think there may be even maybe even getting ahead of it, but there may be even some mixed reception here. It's okay.
Ooh.
I did enjoy the
Pointed
movie.
glances are happening.
Pointed glances.
You didn't tell her.
No. I think
was-
it's more important. It'll be more fun if we
Justin
have
thinks
some
I'm
degree
being-
of disagreement on
Justin
this movie.
thinks
Yeah.
I'm being contrarian.
But before we get into one battle, I really do want to just, we're kind of doing a little mini series of two movies from 2025 and this and Marty Supreme. So I kind of want to just ask you, Roxana, like, how did you feel about the year in movies for 2025?
Oh man. I think that it was sort of a weird year. And I say weird because I think there were some things that were like very surprising hits. Like honestly, I personally did not anticipate One Battle to be even remotely as well regarded or as like commercially successful as it was.
Yeah.
Like I thought that it would flop. Sorry, PTA. Sorry, Leo. Please don't be mad. But I was surprised. I was surprised by that. I was not necessarily surprised by Sinners because I think like Coogler is a very exciting filmmaker and I love vampire shit, all of that stuff. But again, I was like a little surprised by how successful that was. So I guess I'm saying like it was a weird year in that I expected it to suck and like maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
it was
cool.
actually okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, other people have written about this. I think my colleagues Allison Wilmore and Bilga Abiri, I think both wrote about this. But there were a lot of like resistance-y sort of movies this year, but not like, the Democratic Party resistance, but just sort of like how do we live in like very troubled times.
Yep.
Jeff Arpano's It Was Just an Accident is about that. The Secret Agent is about that. So it's interesting that I think there was a lot like on cinema's mind this year. And it was a year without like big superhero comic book stuff that felt like it dominated the conversation.
Yeah.
Like it felt like Fantastic Four and Superman and like some of these other big like cape shit plays sort of came and went. So maybe I'm talking myself into saying I actually was sort of hopeful about movies this year. Oh my God.
I mean,
maybe I'm actually getting to that point.
I think there's always room to be hopeful about movies. Where were you on F1? Actually, just thinking about another kind of movie that sort of came and went, but
yeah, it was fine.
Okay, all right. So we're in this. I was kind of high on it. And the more I think about it, the more I liked it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, because you were later telling me you weren't like so into the performance, Brad Pitt specifically.
Yeah.
But
But I like the Carrie Condon performance. And
yeah, she's great.
It's just kind of, I don't know. I kind of like it was, it didn't try to do much more than just be a fast zoom vroom movie.
I think that's fair. I do think that it was, although it cost like $400 million, I think like narratively it did not have like Fast and the Furious aspirations. It was just like, here's a race, we're gonna do a race. And that's a contained, nice little story. That. I just have a harder time with Brad these days. So,
fair. Yeah, totally fair. Yeah, I was I wasn't as high on Brad in the movie. I like him as an actor, but of course, but but man, just
you like when cars go fast.
I just like when things go fast.
Vroom vroom, baby.
I'm a boy in my 40s.
You're also so cute because you don't know anything about Formula One.
Zero.
And the only reason I know is because my kiddo had a car phase, and we checked out every kids book in the library on Formula One. So Justin's like, they make the cars? And I was like, yeah, that's kind of like the whole thing about Formula One. And you were like,
that's sort of the whole thing. First of all, I like imagining Justin reading these like children's books, like hidden in like his work papers. That's like a very fun image to me. And did you not see Ferrari? Like they build the car in Ferrari?
That's true. That's actually a great point. You know, but honestly, is that the same race thing that they're doing in Ferrari? It's not. Is it Formula One?
No, because like Ferrari is like, isn't F1? Wait, now I'm trying to remember. Isn't F1 also through the city, or is it on the track? Now I'm mixing all my sports movies up.
I don't know. This is where I enjoyed that the cars go fast. I enjoyed that there was strategy.
You disassociated.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right that they do build the car in Ferrari. That's the whole thing, is he's building the fastest car or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, just a note to self, we should all rewatch Ferrari. That's really what we're getting to here.
That's the answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Laura, did you have anything you wanted to say about 25? I don't know. We're going to talk more about 25 later, but
yeah, I don't know. I thought there was some really fun stuff in here. I had a good time in 2025. I don't think I don't have a good idea of whether or not the gestalt of 25 was different than 24, but I think it seemed like there were fewer like big tentpole movies besides Avatar, because we didn't have our Dune and we didn't have our Marvels.
Right.
But
it's coming next year.
We've got Odyssey coming next year. So like we had an off year for some of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like we've hit some of like the major. We have not seen Hamnet. We have not seen Hamnet yet, Roxana, so we can't speak to that. But like of all of the
look at Roxana shaking her head.
Look at her face.
So divisive. Yeah. Very divisive, I would say.
I know. I'm very
excited.
interested to see where we fall in it. But of like the major sort of contenders, we've seen quite a few of them, but now we get to like fill in the blank. Like we're like in the space where we're just being like, let's watch Magic Farm, and it's really and I'm having a really good time with those.
What are the other things you guys have to catch up on besides Hamnet? Like, is there anything else?
We haven't seen Marty Supreme either because it came out at Christmas, and we got a babysitter situation. So like we do see a lot of things either when they come out or we have to kind of like toggle for seeing.
Here's a couple that we haven't seen yet. Is this thing on?
Which
you're a fan?
Shocked myself by really liking.
Okay.
I have kind of like
I can't wait.
I liked his last movie. I feel like people
I pitched this, and I hope that you will agree if you liked the last one. But I feel like Bradley Cooper is becoming our Cameron Crowe.
Oh.
He's like making all these movies about like sentimental romantic relationships, the importance of art. Like he sort of is just copying the Crowe trajectory.
That's cute.
And as someone who loves Almost Famous, I'm like, this is absolutely fine.
Excellent.
Like I don't mind this at all.
All right, I'm into that. Blue Moon, we have not yet seen.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Die My Love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Again.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Your thoughts
I'm
there.
sort of excited for Dom. I love just to see where how it hits us in our relationship.
That's just some of the big
just-
ones. I mean,
think
there's a lot of smaller ones we haven't seen.
It's
too,
an
but
interesting marriage movie for sure.
I'm excited. Yeah. Yeah. We're so busy right now, and it's unfortunately we're so busy, but like we're gonna get to it soon. Anyway,
We will.
It's
Yeah.
just sitting
We'll
there
catch
on
up.
Mubi, and I'm like, when to
Yeah, it's
It's
just
okay.
waiting for you. It's
Le-
just right there alongside Mussolini, just waiting for you to watch it.
Let's pivot to One Battle, and in particular, before we get into the movie itself, I want to just think a little bit abstractly about Paul Thomas Anderson. What do you
Sure.
think like characterizes a Paul Thomas Anderson film? Is there a through line to his movies stylistically or thematically or content wise that you see in One Battle, or do you see it as a bit more disjointed? I'm just kind of curious what you think about him as a director, I guess.
This is such an interesting question because I have a real like love-hate relationship with PTA in that some of his movies I really find intolerable and you could not pay me to watch them again. The prime one of that being Licorice Pizza, which I think is like actively terrible.
Wow.
But I think that he is really interesting as someone who both has sort of this like rose glasses, very fond relationship with like America and our various industries and what we sort of have like co-opted as the American identity. I think in some movies he's like very affectionate toward that and has a lot of, I don't want to necessarily say like pride, but has a lot of like interest in the various ways that those like communities within those industries build out. I mean, obviously like Boogie Nights is very much part of that, right? Like even Magnolia, I think, is part of that. But then I also think he has, and this is like what is more interesting to me as someone who like will forever love There Will Be Blood and think that it should have won everything over No Country. I think he also has like a real awareness of all of like the tensions within that stuff that he is affectionate toward, right? Like I think he has like a real awareness that like a lot of the stories that we tell ourselves about this country are like built on lies and built on this like sense of like it's you or me competition. And so that is the most interesting lane of PTA for me. I think that's why One Battle felt to me like a return to the PTA that I really enjoy, which is about like, I think he's very good at sort of capturing like the struggle of resources that is about being an American. And so I know we're going to talk about this like later down the line, but to me, like that is what One Battle is about. I say this knowing like how completely cheesy it is going to sound like, but I do feel like it is a battle over quote unquote like the soul of this country. But I don't think it's necessarily interested in like how a revolutionary group actually functions. I think it's interested in how you like internalize whatever that struggle is and how it forms you as an individual. That is like a very long-winded answer to say that like some PTA I really enjoy, and I think he's like a very acute observer of like this country's whole deal. And then other stuff, I'm like, you're like tiptoeing a little bit too much into like liking this, and I don't agree with you that I like it.
Yes,
and that's where Licorice Pizza like lives for me, and why why I was very hesitant coming in to One Battle, because I was like, God, I thought Licorice Pizza sucked. Like, where is this gonna go? And I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, Roxana, you and I am also sort of like there are some PTA movies that I don't want to see again, but it's the opposite for me. Justin is such, and I think pretty much anybody with good taste loves There Will Be Blood, but I find that movie so painful to watch.
Wait, can I ask? Painful because you like. Because it is like working on you and you're like, I'm meant to be uncomfortable and I'm uncomfortable?
I think so. I think it's like a really like aggressive film and like and I find the Daniel Day-Lewis performance like makes me want to climb a wall. Like I'm just like, like it's so big. It's meant to be. I got it. It's the movie that he wanted to make, but I don't like watching it.
And you also hate Paul Dano, right? I'm just kidding. No, sorry. It's just
Oh
it's a
my
bad joke.
gosh.
Sorry, it's a bad joke. One thing that you said, Roxana, that that kind of got my mind thinking actually was you're mentioning some of the movies, Magnolia, Boogie Nights. I was also thinking The Master. And I was like, oh yeah, what do these movies all have in common? And one thing is that they're, set against the backdrop of like changing times in the country, and they're, dealing with like, what's going on around. There's this bigger issue that's happening all around all of these people who are having these interpersonal conflicts. But then the other thing that's happening is he zooms right in to this sort of ragtag family that's like being formed at the core of all of these movies. They're about like some people trying to get by forming a kind of, I don't know, a chosen family or just their own kind of
coalition, some sort of like allyship.
Allyship, exactly. And sometimes, often, it's has at the center of it a patriarchal figure who's a bit of a dick. And I was thinking that, one kind of interesting through line to a lot of his movies, and I hadn't really thought about this before you started saying your views, was is that it is about this sort of there's this kind of push and pull between these two things. There's the zoomed out like socioeconomic world in which all this stuff is taking place and how that's impinging upon these people, and then how they're reacting to it by, in a way, getting closer to one another and kind of retreating into one another and forming a tighter union. And I was thinking like, One Battle is this too, because of course it's at its core, it's about these revolutionaries, but it's really at its core about Bob and Willa, the DiCaprio character and the Chase Infinity character, and just sort of whether they can. I mean, it's ultimately the most of the movie is about Bob trying to get to Willa, and I think so. It's like he has all these big issues that are happening, but at the core of this movie, it's just the father trying to find his daughter, and that's like the simplest. Everybody can understand that emotional through line, like as something. It's just like, yeah, even if all the other stuff wasn't happening, I understand that emotional arc or stakes of that. And I think, it is, I don't know what about him draws him in that way to these sort of reconstructed families, and I should mention one other thing about that. As we learn in the film, Bob and Willa aren't even related by blood, right? Like, so they are an adopted father-daughter relationship. So it is a kind, again, of reconstructed family, just like in these other movies. I mean, There Will Be Blood in a way as well is the same thing where Plainview, he adopts the kid to use as a prop.
Right.
This is my son and partner, Daniel. Yeah,
exactly.
My son and partner, HW Plainview. Yeah.
So I just think it's like, thinking of it in that way, I hadn't really thought of it that way, because I like to think of his movies as unified in a way stylistically and and in terms of their tonality and sense of humor. But this theme actually does seem to run through at least a lot of his movies, and it's almost like he's himself dealing with the maybe wanting to seek out and finding it less romantic than he had realized a father figure, and because these father figures are often, I mean, not in this case, but are often disappointing and malevolent in some way.
I think Bob's disappointing in his own way.
Bob is I love Bob.
Yeah.
Like, I will give my life for Leonardo DiCaprio. But like Sensei is the father in
That's
this
a
movie,
great
right?
point.
He's
Yep.
also Bob's father. Like, he is the one who is like,
Mhm.
I'm going to save you. I'm going to give you a phone charger. These skateboarders who are also sort of my surrogate sons are going to like guide you to the next path. That didn't work. So the nurses in my network will
Yeah.
help
I
you.
know. Oh,
Like,
I love that sequence.
Yeah, like he is so much the Right. He's like the inverse of Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master.
Yes.
He's like, I'm just this benevolent, even-keeled man.
And he like kind of
And so, like-
sacrifices himself at the end too. I mean, it doesn't seem like that. He's not so concerned about, about getting pulled over, but he's like, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he is the guiding force in the movie. And like, I do think Bob, I think Bob, how do I talk about Bob? I think that Bob is very well-intentioned and I think pure of heart. And I also think he's a fuck up. And I think that trio is such also like a PTA trio of qualities.
Yeah.
And it's just very well done in like a Leo comedic performance.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I love the first time we see him, like he's late. He doesn't know what he's like running with his little wagon.
Oh.
He doesn't know what the plan is. Like he was never good. It's not like he's a wash up, like he's like washed out,
Well, but
16
I think
years later.
But he's committed.
Yeah.
Right? Like
I
for
think he
whatever mixture of reasons, whether it's just perfidia or whatever, he is committed, which could go back to Justin's point of like, he's committed because it is now this like group that has like accepted him and given him a role. But then later on, he's called a war hero, right? So I do think in some ways, Bob is supposed to be effective. But maybe it's just when he like is with perfidia that he like blossoms into a better version of himself, maybe.
Well, I think it's
certainly more an extreme version of himself.
That's right, because I think it is true that Perfidia is able to sort of weaponize whatever talent he has for engineering bombs or whatever. But I actually think that he's better off not with Perfidia. I mean,
how dare you?
Perfidia is
you don't think Perfidia is a stable influence in his life?
Perfidia is an extreme character.
Perfidia. I love Perfidia.
I do too.
We need to talk about. All right, there are 5 central characters in this film. I think we should talk about all of them.
Okay.
And in their relations, but we're starting with Bob now, which is great. But know, I think Bob. The thing that I think distinguishes Bob is, as you put it, I think this is exactly right. He's pure of heart. He's a good person at his core, even if he's a bumbling fool who's prone to accidents. Not the kind of person you want handling your bombs, but maybe the kind of person you want handling your baby. And he's good with Willa, even though, of course, he's drunk and stoned or whatever. But he has a truly loving relationship with her, and she gives him crap and. It's what you would expect a single father relationship raising a 15-year-old girl in some sense to look like. Like there's no other mother figure in her life, so he has to sort of play both roles, and Willa has to in a way play the role of her own mother, and he cedes that to her when she's like chewing him out. Anyway, that's to me where Bob's virtues lie, as he's just a good guy. He's a good hang. I
have a lot of fondness. Is this the lingering impact of colonialism? I have a lot of fondness for like a white guy trying to be better. I don't know what it is. It's something that like maybe this is why I still love Ben Affleck after all these years.
Oh,
there is something about that archetype that I enjoy. And I feel like for me, when Bob is trying to figure out the pronouns of Willa's friend is like the key for me. Because it's like, it's cringy, but like he genuinely does not want to like fuck it up. Like he wants to know, like what should he call her friend? Yeah. And I love that like little moment of like, God, this guy's like sort of embarrassing. And he just bragged about how good he is at like driving drunk. Yeah. But at the same time, he just wants to be sort of respectful to her friends while he also threatens them and tries to make sure they don't.
A lot.
Yeah. And tries to make sure they don't hurt Willa. So there's something about the way that like the dialogue for Bob is constructed that also gets to like, this man is pathetic, but also sympathetic at the same time, which I really enjoyed.
I really empathized with him too in that scene, that very first scene where we see him with Willa 16 years later. And what did she tell him? Like she said, I think she said fuck off or something because he corrects her about the dice versus the cards. And he was like,
Mhm.
the way you speak to your father. But you know what? Actually, you should tell me what you think always. But like
Yes,
I'm in
yes.
that moment, like, you know, because I feel like before you have kids, you're like, I'm gonna talk to my kids openly and transparently. It's gonna be like a
Mhm.
democracy. They're gonna feel included and seen. And then like, you know, then my kid calls me a douche, and I'm like, I'm the boss. Like, what the hell?
Your life depends on me.
Yeah,
What are
I'm like,
you
no,
doing?
it's not a democracy. It's a tyranny of me. Go to your room.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hard to like, you know, he's like, I gotta live my resistance ideals, and like, but also like, I gotta be the parent too a little bit, right?
Yeah.
What? What?
I don't want to be your babysitter. I don't want to worry if you wrapped your car around a telephone pole.
Well, I didn't wrap my...
I didn't ask for this. That's just how the cards were rolled out for me.
It's dice, sweetie.
What?
It's not cards. You don't roll cards. It's dice.
Fuck off, Bob. Just fuck off with that, okay? Grow up.
Wow. Okay. Well, you look. I like the way you're standing up for yourself. I'm proud of you, honey. But the way you speak to your father sometimes, it's just... I don't know. You're right. You should tell me what you think always. Never hold anything back from me.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
You're right. That's something I gotta remember. And I fuck up sometimes.
I like too that the Perfidia's family is bemused by Bob too. They say you are so unsuitable for our daughter. But
she comes from a long line of revolutionaries.
I know,
like they
yeah.
also think that he is not worthy of her ethically.
Yes.
Which is also very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
That said, they of course send him and their granddaughter off with him. Like he's the one, you know, saying goodbye to them. And you know, so
she's gone at that point.
Yes,
yeah,
but they trust him. You know, they're not like, well, we'll take the baby, you go off, right? Like
Yeah.
they trust him because I think they see that he's a good person, even if he's not, you know, he's not the all-star revolutionary that Perfidia is.
Mm-hmm.
What about the primary antagonist of the film, Colonel? What's his name? Sorry, Colonel Stephen
Lockjaw.
J. Lockjaw.
Yeah.
So okay,
I'll
how
let
about
someone else go. I'll let someone else go first on this.
I'm
one.
gonna let Laura go first. Well, actually, yeah, you go. Well, I'll go first. No, screw it. I'm gonna go first because I don't know what it means for you guys to punt on this, but I'll go first. So here's what happened when I came back from seeing the movie.
Just drop my computer.
I came back and I told, because I saw it separately from Laura, and I said it's hilarious. I was laughing all the time, and in particular, I was laughing a ton at Sean Penn. I thought his performance was amazing. I was cackling, and when we rewatched it, same thing. I thought it was hilarious.
Was I cackling?
I don't know. You tell me. This is just to say, I think it's a great performance by Sean Penn. I also think it's a really funny character. And a character that I have some degree of, you know, sympathy for, in the sense that he's, so this is why I wanted to go first, because you guys counterpoint me on this, but I think
Justin said men's rights.
I know,
oh my God, Justin.
You know, but at his core, he is a super pathetic dude.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is defined by one thing, which is first of all, let me two things. His love of black women and getting into the Christmas Adventurers Club. These, you know, the latter of which is a supremely like lame and stupid goal. And he is so proud of himself when he gets in, and is so pathetic to see this. And I find it, I think Penn is just hilarious in sort of capturing all of that, and his sort of heightened, goofy, fragile masculinity. In everything that he does, you know, Willa says, you know, why is your shirt so tight? And he takes it to be like an attack on his sexuality. And it's just like, maybe I just have a soft spot for like extremely aggro guys who are compensating big time. But I find that kind of character really funny. Okay, sorry. Now feel free to reject that characterization.
Laura,
of Lockjaw.
what do you think about Justin admitting that he loves Gerard Butler and also
He does.
Colonel
Love
I do
Gerard
like
Butler.
Gerard Butler,
Yeah, he
yes.
does.
Yeah,
love
that
Gerard
makes
Butler.
sense. 100%. Of course you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a white man.
I love
of a
Jerry
certain
B.
age. I came back and I was like, I thought this movie was funny.
Yeah.
I did not think that Sean Penn was funny. I found that performance
Correct.
completely repulsive.
Yep.
If it was intended to be funny, I don't think he got it right then. But I mean, we know the PTA doesn't shy away from big performances. Like we just talked about Daniel Day-Lewis. Like, he likes sometimes a little bit of scenery chewing. I kind of was like, if we still had Philip Seymour Hoffman, like, would he have done this in a way that felt like a little less clownish? Because I feel like I was thinking about like in The Master, like PTA also loves people like losing their mind and being over the top and like aggressive, and like nobody could do it in a PTA movie like Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
Like,
No, he's the best.
why do you ask the question if you already know the answer is pig fuck?
Yes.
Like he's so good. And I was just thinking like there might have been a slightly different tweak on this performance that I would find to be less lizardy. Like there's so much mouth stuff. He's walking around like he's got something stuck up his booty. Like it's so much. It's so much.
Yeah.
How did you feel, Roxana?
I think the performance is a caricature. My problem with the performance is that I think it makes him pathetic in a way that people could have sympathy for.
Yeah.
People like
when
Justin.
I think he is, yes, like Justin.
Yeah.
When I think he is pathetic in a way that is the same way as the dudes who join ICE to shoot moms in the face.
Yes.
So like it's not funny to me because it's too real.
Yeah.
And because like I think that the Christmas Adventurers Club is not like I think that like Lockjaw wanting to be in this group and this group itself, like I think that we are meant to, yes, laugh at how silly it is to make like Santa Claus your deity. But at the same time, like it is so clearly like this country's religious right that like I can't find it funny because it is too realistic to what we're living through. And because like the methodologies that the Adventurers Club and that Lockjaw are able to use are the methodologies that we are like living with constantly, right? Like they are operating the cages at the border. Shout out to Obama, also operating cages at the border. They are like raiding factories, right? Like they are doing all these things with like the full extent of the law. So yes, I think he is meant to be pathetic, but I also think he is meant to be the inverse of Bob, and that Bob is also pathetic and lonely and looking for a cause and joins a cause that is theoretically meant to, from the bottom up, free people and help people. And obviously Lockjaw takes all those same qualities and joins like a top-down organization that has no problem killing people, right? So like they're obviously like foils and mirrors and fools, but I hate Lockjaw.
Yeah, I get it. No, I get it. I mean, here's partly why I think he's maybe slightly more interesting than, I don't know, than the other maybe Christmas adventures. Because so I sort of think of him as like he is driven entirely by this repressed desire. Like he actually at his core, he in some ways loves Perfidia. He's at least like totally smitten by her and is sexually attracted to her, and of course. But I think it's
I would be hesitant saying he loves her.
Well,
I would be hesitant saying that.
He goes to her whatever. He goes to her when she's in witness protection, and it seems he's dressed up, and it's one gets the impression
he's
that
got
like
his little tan pants on.
He sort of thinks like maybe there's something that could happen here, or whatever. Like there's something like there's a chance that they could be together in some weird fantasy. Of course, that could never happen for so many reasons, but I think that's part of what's pathetic about him is that he sort of and to some extent, like it's his sort of that it's like almost childlike, and that's where I'm like I see there's a little bit of sympathy for him. Now, here's the other thing: he does not seem to have an ideology in the same way that the Christmas adventures do. So, for example, like he is running this this sort of ICE like organization, but we mostly see him deploying it in the service of finding Perfidia in the first place, and then once he gets Perfidia, like and loses her, finding his daughter or whatever who he thinks is to be his daughter, in order to kill her if she turns out basically in order to cover up his his transgression against the Christmas adventures so that he can join the Christmas adventures and so it's like he's not as far as I read the character, he's not like I think he could care less about the immigration stuff and all that. He says these things to these guys, but I think what in the end of the day is like he's a lonely guy too, and he wants to be a part of his weird ass family. And this turns out to be this. He's decided it has to be these white supremacist guys, and because for whatever reason. But I think like that's the sense in which it's like he's desperately trying to gain their affections, and failing. And that's where I think of it as a kind of pathetic, like as opposed to a character who is driven by some sort of really twisted ideology, and hatred and so on. It seems like he's ultimately driven by this sort of strange obsession with getting into this stupid club.
But the stupid club is white supremacy.
I know. It's true. It's true.
That's why I really I like you so much, Justin. But I just refuse the idea that he is not driven by an ideology, because I think he is. And I think the fact that he is in the military to begin with, stationed at the border, capturing people, that is all ideology, right? Like, I think that is all something that he chose to do and orders that he chose to follow. And I think being attracted to a Black woman and fetishizing her and basically using your power to cut her off from her family and her friends, that is also all ideology. So like, I do think that he is driven by a sense of his own self-worth and by this hierarchy that he thinks everyone should follow. Like, I think, like, when I go back to him in the car with Willa, and she is saying her mother was a rat, and he is saying, like, you need to respect your parents. Like, that to me is part of all of this, like, hierarchy that he is, like, insistent on defending.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I don't know.
You're totally right that he sees himself as in some ways superior to other people. But it's also interesting, too, that he talks about Perfidia in the same terms as he sort of sees himself. Like, he sees her as, I forget exactly the words he uses to Willa, but like, she was like she fought the weak or something, he says.
Yeah, he says something, which is along those lines, or like she fought for her people or what she believed. He says something along those lines.
Yeah. But it's just possible, to say, like, I think he respects power ultimately.
Yes,
I think that's,
of course.
And he sees her as, but I don't know if it's clear that he draws the line the way the Christmas Adventurers would, which is white is powerful, everything else is not powerful. I think he sees it as just like, I respect power in any form, whether it's the form of a Black woman, whether it's the form of me, but we are the powerful and the rest should subjugate themselves to us. And so it feels less racialized than with the Christmas Adventures. And it's not to say this is like a good thing. Like, I don't think you should just only respect.
Sure.
Like, that's bad. That's bad too.
Right.
It's just that it's like it feels to me slightly askew from the Christmas Adventures in terms of whereas they feel really like white supremacists, and he feels like he's just like a power obsessed guy. Anyway, I don't know, but maybe I'm wrong. Look, I just think the character, even if he's not sympathetic, I think the character is hilarious. Anyway, I'll die on that hill.
That's fair. The last thing I'll say though too is that I also feel like this movie is not clean again. Like the characterizations are not entirely clean.
Yeah.
And I also think that there really seems to be like 45 minutes to an hour of this movie that was cut out. So I also think that there are like probably things that we are picking up on that aren't like entirely neat between the characters. So we might not come to like the same conclusions about them.
Yeah.
But just the last thing that I want to say about him is like, I feel like it is so telling that Bob in his relationship with Perfidia, when she is like going through postpartum and doesn't want to be around her daughter and is like, I need to go wage the revolution. Bob is like, go do that. Like, you want to fight the revolution? Go. Like, go for it. That's fine. And Lockjaw's methodology is to entrap her. I just think that that is like very telling. So.
Yeah.
You got a baby?
Yeah.
Male, female?
She's a girl.
What's her name?
Charlene.
Charlene. Sounds like a black girl's name. You like black girls? I love them. I love them.
Let's talk about Perfidia then, because I think she is in some ways the most complex character. She's the character that has the most dimensions, and she sort of embodies these different contradictory impulses. So what did you guys think of? I mean, I think let me just start with Laura, because I think Tiana Taylor is your favorite person in the whole film, right?
Oh yeah. As when she left 30 minutes in, I was like, oh no. Like things like it took the energy of that movie took a dive for me because I was like, I really miss Perfidia. And then we brought her back in the end. But I was like, the first 30 minutes are the best part of that film because of Perfidia. So I love the performance and I love her.
Yeah.
She's a wild woman.
Roxana, so how would you conceptualize Perfidia as a character?
I mean, I think the thing with Perfidia is that she is obviously the person who we get the greatest glimpse into like what revolutionary action means to her, and then also the greatest glimpse into like what the toll of that is, right? Because like she becomes sexualized by Lockjaw. I really resist any reading that is like she has affection for Lockjaw, which I have seen and makes me feel like I'm going insane.
No.
So yes, I think that she is like, to your point, Justin, I think she is interested in exercising her own individual power.
Yeah.
I think that when that is for the revolution, it is very sincere and very earnest. I think when that is for protecting herself from Lockjaw and protecting the revolution from Lockjaw, it is very calculated. And I think when it comes to Bob, it's very messy. And so I think that she is the most fascinating because we get the greatest glimpse into like how all of these things are overlapping with each other, but not, I don't know. I think that she is impossible to parse, but also the most compelling because I think her actions feel the most human in a certain way. Like I do think about the fact that like she does sell out the French 75 and she is a rat, but you wouldn't have a movie if she didn't do that. You know what I mean? It's like as a narrative device, she has to sell them out so that the movie can happen. But as like a symbol of revolution, like she's not a straightforward symbol, and she's not a straightforward symbol, and I think that is fine because I think the movie is mostly again sort of like rejecting simplistic reads of the French 75.
Yeah,
so I'm fascinated by her. Yeah,
I think it's interesting that the movie depicts various other members of the resistance and non-resistance who get interrogated similar to her. And as far as I can tell,
Everybody folds.
they all fold.
Yeah.
Much in the same way that she does. It just depends. There's different things that trigger them, but they each one, no matter how strong their commitment, they seem to end up giving in to these, these torture techniques that are being used against them, or whatever. In her case, it's an offer. But like, I think it's the threat. They give in to the threat.
The threat.
And I think, that's one thing. If there was a point, I think the movie is trying to illustrate about the commitment to an ideology and the difficulty of retaining that commitment to the ideology, is that when the rubber meets the road, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna look out for you and yours, or are you gonna sacrifice everything for this cause, for the cause? And what the film depicts is very few people, if any, sacrificing everything for the cause. And I think that's one sense in which the film is, sympathetic towards Perfidia, in the sense that it depicts other people doing the same thing, but also suggesting that, cracks, let's say, in the sort of revolutionary spirit. Like, it's all fun and games when you're Jungle Pussy standing on top of a bank teller's, desk, explaining your credo. But then when you see Jungle Pussy get arrested, or get, chased, she is looking quite scared. And I think that contrast BTA seems to really want to highlight. And with Perfidia, it seems she's a character who, as you put it, I think gets a lot of joy from the ability to exercise her agency in the course of fighting for these revolutionary ideals. But she is a free spirit, and she is not going to be contained by anyone, whether it be the revolution or Lockjaw
or Bob or a family structure.
She is off to Mexico. She is a free spirit at the end of the day, and that's what she's going to do. And I love that letter at the end that Willa has to, that really gets to read from her, where she it's this confessional where she explains why she did what she did, but also expresses a certain degree of guilt and regret about what transpired, and that she's not there with Willa to raise her and to be with her. And I think the film does not shy away from that either. And I think so it shows that, like, these are real consequences of these kinds of actions, and in a way none of the characters can sort of have it all. And I think that's one sense in which the film for me works quite well, is that it's a bittersweet ending. It's not a happy ending. It's bittersweet in that the characters have, there's some degree of reconciliation, but there's also a kind of understanding of the impossibility of what lays ahead, especially for Willa, who's about to enter into a kind of her own battle, so to speak.
I also think the thing for me in talking about this film is that, yes, it is about the revolutionaries and that they are the primary characters we follow, but the way that I really digested it was it's about the violence of the state. Like, it is about the violence of the state and doing everything that they're legally allowed to do and also can just do because nobody's going to stop them. And it is about, like, the boot. And I really feel like I completely understand. I've read a lot of, like, leftist critiques that are like, the revolutionaries in this movie suck. Like, they don't have, like, a coherent ideology. They fold, like, all of this stuff. Like, I totally understand that. But I really feel like it's because the movie is more interested in being like, these are all the things that we allow this country to do to people. And that to me is, like, far more of a bleak and realistic version of what this country is. And again, like, all of the things that Lockjaw is able to do are things that are happening every day in this country. And so, like, yeah, I don't know. I completely understand, like, the viewpoint of, like, Perfidia sells them out, or, like, all these people eventually fold or whatever. But, Sensei's network is still going, and I think that there is like a lot of hope and optimism to be found from that as well.
Yeah.
And there was something else that I was going to say. Oh, I think the only person who does not fold when questioned is Bluto, Willa's
Yeah,
friend.
that may
I
be.
think he
Yeah.
is the only one
may
who
be.
like refuses to do anything,
at
say
least it's-
anything. He doesn't give up the phone number.
Right.
Like he
yeah,
just
they're-
does not
yeah,
play
everybody
ball.
else does. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do I
Yeah.
look like your parents? Kind of.
Kind of.
Bluto.
I think you're right. Yeah. But also, like, I mean, in terms of everybody folding, I mean, like, what is Howard supposed to do if they're like, we are just going to go murder your sister, like, without, you
Right.
know, without compunction? Like, we have the power to do that. Like, when you live in an authoritative state, when you live in a police state, in a state that has absolutely no compunction about doing violence to innocent people, like, how could you not fold? Like, you know, I think it would be sort of evil to let your sister die for the French 75, you know? So I think like that's also the world that PTA is painting. That is just like maybe a few steps from where we are or exactly where we are.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think there's any fault in the fact that everybody folds. It's like when you're, you know, you can try to be, you can resist until you can't anymore because you don't have the power and they do.
Yeah,
So-
that's why it's so funny. I'm sorry, Justin. All I was going to say is that's why it's funny to me that there was all this like hubbub about when is the movie set. Because I was like, does it matter? Like all of these things are happening all the time.
Yeah.
Like there is nothing about how like the military arm plays out that is
and to Sensei's
different.
Point, this has been
or
happening for
new.
hundreds of years. Like this is just this is an evergreen story.
Yeah. I think that's the thing that because I mean I know Anderson had written it a while ago or had the idea a while ago. And of course, it's based on Vineland, which was written in the 90s, which is about the 70s, basically. So it's like this.
It's about it's about Reagan era, I think.
Well, it's
Anyway.
Weather Underground
Yeah,
stuff, which is like late 60s, or at least into the 70s, 80s. But like,
Yeah.
but you know that this is this recurring. And it's
cycle
reflected in the title, like it's just ongoing. It sort of, in some sense, doesn't matter. The particularities, of course, are, immigration, et cetera. That's what's going on right now that we happen to be, but it could have well been anything. What do you guys think of the character of Willa, played by Chase Infinity? That's sort of a smaller part in a way. Doesn't have as, isn't as well developed as some of the other characters we've mentioned, but it's the film in a way rests at the end on her shoulders. It's sort of like it feels like Anderson is sort of suggesting a kind of passing of the guard to the next generation, which would be her. What did you guys think of that character in Chase Infinity?
That's basically the piece I wrote, which is that like the entire movie is about giving the next generation the opportunity to find their own means of like resistance or rebellion or revolution or whatever. And how the very obvious but wonderful Tom Petty needle drop is part of that. Like she was an American girl raised on promises. So I really liked her. I like the character because I think it is smart to make her like so frustrated with her father, but ultimately embrace him in this really wonderful way and realize that the way that he raised her was principled, and did have morality to it. So I like the character. Going back to the question of like, are portions of this movie missing? I think part of the problem in casting, from what I had heard, was that like PTA was looking for someone who was like very good at karate because there was supposed to be like a very in-depth karate sequence.
Oh.
And that was what took so long to like cast Willa. So there is part of me that keeps thinking like, did he cut it and then he cast the character, or was it filmed and it exists somewhere and it didn't make it into the movie? Like, I don't know. So there is a little part of me that wishes, like I want to see her do some tatami action. So I do think that I wish that there was like a little bit more of her. Like I would have loved more of her in Regina Hall. I also feel like there's portions missing from like the convent sequence that I wish
agree.
that there was more of. But I really love her Like in the final act, when she is on the road and has to like run for her life, basically, I think that she is great. So yeah, she works for me. I think the character works for me, and I think the performance works for me.
It's like she has to be sort of wise beyond her years in a way, because she's effectively raised herself. and Chase Infinity has that. She's obviously young, but like has this sort of wisdom to her, and I think that comes across. She's clearly a very strong and capable person. My only issue is that the character felt, I mean, it's she gets a little crowded out in these big characters that are given quite a bit of depth and stuff. We get less of her. She's there more as this object for, not entirely, but the role she has to play in the structure of the plot is as the object of Bob needing to protect,
and Lockjaw needing to
destroy. And now that said, it's not, I would not say that is entirely correct, because despite that, within that structure, she is a person that has, clearly has her own personality. But it's just, it's by contrast to the other characters, she sort of has a little bit less agency. And that's, I think, a function of the role she has to play within the structure of the film. But anyway, did you have...
Yeah, I think so. Your colleague Allison Wilmore said something. She connected Willa's childhood to that of John Connor's in Terminator 2, which made me laugh. And it also kind of like that's a whole other movie too, which I don't think they filmed that and cut it out, but like that, what her early years were like when they were still living under complete vigilance, and like her kind of as the time goes on and he gets a little more fried and a little looser and just kind of yells about every car that comes into the driveway, but doesn't seem to like have anything, like he's not coherent anymore. Like she thinks he's crazy, or that he's like paranoid. She doesn't really believe that her little stick has a purpose. She's like, I'll take it with me. Yeah. But like she thinks he's nuts, and I think that's like a nice, I really like that arc of her coming to, as all children will eventually do, I'm hoping mine will, like come to see that like your parents made a lot of mistakes, but they had their reasons. Maybe they're trying their best. You're trying their best, and you sort of understand. She's coming to understand Bob as she's becoming an adult, and understanding that he's an adult who is also kind of a kid trying to raise a kid, and they're like coming together to understand that. And like, and I love too that like, does she only call him dad at the very end? She
calls him Bob a lot.
She calls him Bob, and then when he says like, "Do you want to see the thing that I can show you?" and she's like, "I don't know what it is, Dad." And that's like the first time she cracks like a little smile and calls him Dad. I really like that we picked this particular moment where they're kind of like crossing paths. He's gonna give her the baton to go off and be whoever she wants to be, but to choose to be part of the resistance if she wants to be, but. That, he's kind of an empty nester by the time we've picked it up. Like he's drunk driving and she's telling him what to do. But like that's an interesting point to pick up a parent-child relationship. And I had like I just was like, I really enjoyed, I think because Allison Wilmore like evoked this idea of a John Connor live-in, like, just thinking about like he's got a bunch of friends in Mexico and a bunch of caches of weapons around, maybe.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I think,
I'm like, what was that like? And like, maybe he was like, you got to learn karate. Like, you got to like defend yourself, baby.
I might be making this up, but didn't PTA or didn't some famous director have like an interview that went viral where it was like, he talked about Terminator in like film school, and his like film professor like mocked him for it. And he was like, no, Terminator cinema. I got to find it. I think it might've been PTA. I could also be completely conflating it with somebody else. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like Willa's arc is her realization that Bob was right, which is very funny for PTA as a father of 4 daughters. Put in there.
Your parents have their reasons, children.
Yeah.
My gosh, I'm losing my mind, Justin.
Well, of course, Laura was going to pick up on the parent angle. All right. I want to talk about the last of the 5 main characters. Through the following lens.
Save the best for last.
The character is Sensei Sergio Saint Carlos.
Is that his name?
That's his full name, I guess.
Yes.
Played by
Okay.
Benicio del Toro. A hilarious character. Roxana's already made the excellent point that in a way he is the true father figure, the true patriarch of the film, and a good one at that. But I want to talk about his character through the lens of the contrast that we get that's already been mentioned between the kind of ineffectuality but bombast of the violent resistance done by the French 75 and the, from what we can tell, quite effective but very low key and under the radar nonviolent resistance that's being done by, but that's being sort of spearheaded by Sensei, his little Latino Harriet Tubman situation that he's got going on at his place, as he says. So what do you guys think of Sensei? And should Benicio win Best Supporting Actor? I guess that's my two questions.
Oh my God, Laura.
I don't know if he should win Best Supporting Actor for doing
It's
what
just a
Benicio
great
does
character.
so well.
Yeah.
I think he's so cute and he's great at everything he does, and I loved him in the Phoenician Scheme this year too. Like I just, I think but that character is so delightful. I don't know if he should win Best Actor.
No, I know.
But,
It's just mostly the character.
that moment where he pulls down the door to his like his secret tunnel and the carpet rolls down, like that makes me giggle every time. It's so funny.
I think he should win because
do?
why not? Who cares?
Who
Choose
cares?
chaos. I think that he is, if we were to like point at any part of this movie and be like, this is what PTA thinks heroism is, I think that it's Sensei, right? Like he is a father figure. He's the father figure that Bob isn't to Willa, right? Like,
Yep.
and he also
knows she has a phone.
he knows she has a phone. This key detail that Bob has absolutely no awareness of. And it is like really the only way that they figure out how to find out where she is. So I think that like all of the little pieces of Sensei, and to your point, Justin, like it is non-violent resistance, but it is so deeply organized and it is so collaborative. Like we were talking about the nurses earlier. The nurse sequence is so beautiful because Bob like has no idea what's happening. Bob has no idea what's happening. But there are like military people and cops in this hospital and the nurses are just like doing what they're doing. This is like the secret episode of The Pit that we did not get. So I think that like they are really fascinating. I love that you get the opposite of that with like the skateboarders who are so willing to like help Bob along the way, and they're involved in this protest against like the military occupation of their town. I love him very much. And I think that the movie, I don't necessarily want to say that the movie is saying that like the French 75 weren't effective. But I think it is saying that like there are all these different ways in which you can help someone who is a stranger to you, but for whom you have like compassion and who you think deserves human dignity like just as much as you do. And I really love that. I rewatched it earlier today and I did rewind to watch like the whole like Viola Revolution segment because I think it is so good. So yeah, whatever, fuck it, who cares?
Yeah,
he should win.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
The reason I think it's not that the film is anti-French 75 and pro-Sensei or something like that, but I think the film does seem to take a harsher view of the violent stuff versus the non-violent stuff. In the sense, here's one reason. I mean, there's that voiceover when we cut to Willa for the first time, and it's like nothing much has changed. And it's true that nothing much has. I mean, if like we're also supposed to fill in the blanks with like what's happening now, nothing much has changed, and that is deeply defeating to sort of come to terms with. But at the same time, and look at the toll that all that violent revolution takes on the individuals.
Right.
They get interrogated, put in WITSEC, betray one
Killed.
another, people, and killed. And by contrast, Sensei seems to be having a good thing going. I mean, he's of course he's at immense personal risk doing what he's doing, but the difference is that he's building a community, and I think that's they are building a community too, but it's a community built around large, bombastic, showy actions that they think potentially are going to both, enact a kind of violent spur of the revolution, but also kind of inspire, right? There's this sort of like, we have these fireworks and it'll inspire people, but it just doesn't. And, I think the one thing though, I think French 75, it's clear the French 75 are bigger than just a violent revolutionary group, because we get that scene where Howard Somerville is the DJ. He's in the earlier part, and then he's the DJ, and he gets renditioned by the ICE agents basically. And then the little kids who are on the street are watching, and then they just run in and they know what to do. And he's just out there just blasting stuff into the ether on his sort of pirate radio station. So I think there's dimensions to it, and I think and they're of course they've built their own community that's functioning and kind of network like Sensei's as well. So I don't think the film necessarily is like anti-French 75. It's just I think it's just it does seem to be it does seem to look with a certain degree of I don't know what the word is, like quizzic. It's like looks quizzically upon or skeptically upon the violent stuff, because again, then you also have Perfidia, who's bound up with it in a very complicated way. Like this is both, and Jungle Pussy to that extent too. This is both an expression of agency, and in some sense, for them, the only way they can express their agency, or the way they've decided they can express their agency, and that's in power. In as much as it's about this broader movement that transcends them. So I think there's the individual aims and the social aims get kind of mixed in a complicated way that makes it less pure in a way than Sensei, who's doing all this stuff and he's basically just doing it selflessly. Like he's helping everyone. He just when Bob needs help, he just does it. He just gives him help. It's so I don't know, so refreshing. We all want a Sensei Sergio in our lives.
We all want a Sensei. I do think that I keep calling him Brace Belden because that's who that character is in my mind. But like, yes, the fact that the two young brown children know and have been trained to go into his house and send out the message to the sanctuary cities is maybe like, that to me, I keep saying like, that to me is the movie, but that to me is also the movie, right? Yeah. Like that is another like handing to like a future generation who is aware of like what to do to protect other people. I think that is like an incredibly beautiful moment as well. Someone smarter than me would probably have something to say about the fact that like it is the Black women that this movie is looking on with a little bit of skepticism and men who are in charge of the networks that are running effectively. I think somebody could probably say something about that. But yeah, I mean, I do think that Sensei is obviously like the ideal in this film as to how to like affect change. Yeah. The last thing I will just say about that isn't the again, I could be wrong, but I feel like the actor who plays the interrogator is an interrogator.
Oh my God, really?
Oh my gosh.
I think so. I'm gonna look that up.
All right, look that up. That would be wild.
The one who like interrogates the high school kids and like everybody. He's like, I thought you took AP common sense.
Wow.
Yes,
that would be.
He's so scary.
He is very.
I know.
He's good. I mean, they're all really good, but he is.
I would believe it.
From the Pioneer Press. He is a retired U.S. Department of Homeland Security Investigations special agent.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Fascinating.
He's like, they like
Yeah.
hire him and he's like, I'm the hero of this movie, yes?
Yeah. Previously held the positions of, he was a Secret Service agent, Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation and Identification, and he's been like various private organizations.
Yeah.
But yes, I do feel like he's so good at it because unfortunately he's probably done it to
Yeah.
people who didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
Just the thought.
That's a good point, and also it's a really good point that the women are the ones. They tend to be in this film the ones who have less, who are less successful at realizing their aims than the men. But really, the only people who seem to be successful at anything are Lockjaw and Sensei. I mean,
Yeah.
So, and Lockjaw is like
Lockjaw's a fool.
a fool, and Sensei is
Mhm.
like PTA's like, desire to have, like we all desire
Right.
to have like a that kind of father figure to come in and sort of
Mhm.
help us.
Yeah.
So there is a kind of
I do wonder too, I mean, to the question of whether or not there's a whole chunk of this movie missing, like Sisters the Brave Beaver, what's their deal?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
We
I think that
don't
there is
get
a lot
we don't get a
that
lot
is
of like
missing.
what their mission is.
Yeah.
Like they grow
Yes.
weed according to Taco Shirt Guy.
and they shoot guns.
Yes.
And they shoot guns, but like presumably they might be running a sanctuary of their own. They're
Right.
doing something, and they're doing. I don't know what
It
they're
is-
They were
doing.
in they were in the French 75. Like
Yeah.
they were affiliated with the French 75. Like
Yeah.
the head, like the mother superior or whatever is the one who tells Regina Hall's character, like, Deandra, you have more fight than we did, right? So there are definitely like a lot of relationships in this film that I wish had like 5 to 10 more minutes. I would have watched a 4-hour version, PTA. Like,
I don't know
come
about
on.
that.
Laura's like,
I would
I'm
have.
like allergic to movies that are longer than 2.5 hours. But
all right. Well, so to keep this conversation compact, I want to
Yes.
end with this question, which is this is a film that's I think quite funny.
Mm.
I mean, maybe not
Mhm.
Lockjaw, but there's other parts of it that are funny. Did you
Justin's gonna be Lockjaw for Halloween. No, sorry.
Oh my
I
god.
missed
I really
my
wanted to be
chance.
Sensei, but then I was sick. It was very tragic.
Oh.
Sensei is
Yeah.
a very good choice.
Carry
No, I mean,
on some
it's-
Modelo's.
I think it'd be actually quite hard to be Lockjaw. Honestly, it's Bob or Sensei are your options.
No, you just got to get the
Mhm.
haircut and then just carry
Okay.
on that
I guess that's
comb
true.
and just spit on it.
Yeah,
every-
carry around the comb. I think it's very easy. You just need a black t-shirt that's like 2 sizes too small, camo pants,
Yeah,
and the
camo
comb.
pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Did you guys have a favorite line from the film? So a lot of great lines. I mean, that's if there was another through line to a Paul Thomas Anderson, it would be the dude is good at writing really funny, snappy dialogue. And I think there's some pretty good ones in this one. Maybe I'll start with Laura.
Don't start with me.
Do you have a favorite? Well, I want to give Roxana a chance to sort of mull
Okay.
over the choices.
Give her a chance. Don't give
But-
me.
Well, I
You
wrote
did
some
I know what
lines
mine
for
is.
you.
I can go if Laura wants to wait.
Yeah. Do you want to go, Laura? Or do you want to?
No.
All right. Laura's punching
I
it over to
need
Roxana.
time.
Okay.
Roxana, do you have a favorite line from the film?
Yes,
Battle
it's
After Night?
Sensei saying,
You know what freedom is? What? No fear. Just like Tom fucking Cruise.
everything that Bob says is hilarious. Like, I actually think Life is like on par with his Once Upon a Time in Hollywood performance. Like, it is so
Yep.
everything with Bob on the phone is so
good.
funny. How mean he is to Comrade Josh
Yeah.
when Comrade Josh realizes that he actually is like
Yeah.
a war hero is hilarious. But it is Sensei saying to be like Tom Cruise, because I like the idea of PTA just like rewatching Magnolia and being like, you know what I should do here? Like, I should reference Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, work with PTA again, please. I would like to see that.
Well,
Yeah, I would love that.
I would.
Laura, what's your favorite line of the film?
I think it might be, why is your shirt so tight?
That's a great line.
That's just like such a miserable, like uncomfortable sequence,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah.
Through it.
it finally gave me a little giggle.
That's a great line. It comes at a nice moment. My favorite line of the film, and I do believe this is my favorite line. I was thinking about it, is the line that made me laugh out loud when I first saw it, and then again continues to make me laugh. Is it's when Bob's talking to Willa at first, and he says,
You drove?
So what are you, my babysitter? What?
Yeah.
I know how to drink and drive, honey. I know what I'm doing. I didn't
Dad.
have that much. What?
Saying he knows how to drink and drive is so as
Are you
if
gonna-
like it's a
It's so
skill
good.
that he's like mastered.
He's like, I'm a fucking grown up.
It's so good. It's so funny.
He knows what he's doing. He's excellent.
I
Leo
love
should
it.
win the Oscar. We didn't ask this, but Leo should win the Oscar. That's my final decision.
Leo over Mr. Chalamet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Give it. Timmy can wait 10 to
Yeah.
15 more years. Like, come on, Timmy.
This is the kind of role I want Leo to win for, rather than a movie like The Revenant, which he did win for.
Yeah.
Because I think this is the I love Leo in this lane.
Yeah.
Kind of dumb
Mhm.
guy who's a little outmatched, but has a good heart. I love that.
He's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
The physical humor too. Like the first time we see him, just like he goes to the he goes to see Sensei and he sees a car drive by and he just like falls down on the mats, like wiggling around like a worm.
Yeah.
It's like
Yes,
incredible.
It's
And I was just
incredible.
think-
I
I was just
also like
thinking-
his whistle. His whistle is good.
Mhm.
Yeah. the
You
whistle's
said
fun.
that's like a Leo
That
thing.
felt like
Does
such a Leo move.
is that like something he does in other films, or
That when he's talking to like
when he's talking to those guys on the street?
por allá, not por acá, por allá, por allá, and then he goes, yeah. I don't know. I
this
couldn't
was
tell you.
explained in a clip that went viral. Some like a reporter asked him about this, and they're like, "What's the deal with the whistle?" And he was like, "Yes, I did the whistle." And they're like, "What's the context of the whistle?" And he was like, "I grew up in LA. I had a lot of Mexican friends growing up. When COVID happened, this is a sign of like just Leo being Leo. Leo was like, I was working with my gardening team." planting cacti all over my hillside, and that's how we communicated with the whistle. And he like did it on stage and everybody like lost their shit. So yes, it seems like a thing
Wow.
Leo actually does in real life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That felt genuine. That
Yeah.
felt like a Leo bursting through. Like
Yeah.
when we get the little wink at the end when he's like taking
Mhm.
selfies of himself. That's like our acknowledgement. Like this man is like in real life extraordinarily confident and hot. Like, you know.
So hot.
It's almost like,
Yeah.
yeah, Leo peeked through Bob for a second and it was delightful. Because I always made me laugh too when the kids were like, dude, your dad's aggro. And I was like, are none of her friends gonna be like, your dad looks like Leonardo DiCaprio? Like your dad is schlubby, but like also so hot.
Yeah, your dad. I
What's
mean,
going
I
on
do
with
think
that?
he is very hot making the bomb. Like, I will say that. That
Mhm.
sequence where he's explaining to Perfidio what he's doing, extremely hot.
Mhm.
Thank you for your service, Leo.
Thank you for your service. And thank you, Roxana Hadadi, for joining us. So your writing can be found at New York Magazine and at vulture.com. Is there anything else
Yes.
that you would like to tell our listeners about that's going on?
Okay, yes, things to promote. You can find me at vulture.com. I did write an ending piece about One Battle if people would like to read that. And then the other cool thing that I did recently was we have this feature at Vulture called Roll Call, where we ask an actor like all the questions that we have about their performance in a specific film. So I spoke to Ashley Judd about Heat, which was like amazing, and I was so honored that she did that. And it was really interesting because now, as I think you guys know, she is like a women's rights activist and professor who studies like sex trafficking and sex crimes. So it was really interesting to talk to her about Heat, like within that context, and get her thoughts on Charlene. So that's also up at Vulture if people would like to read that.
You're at roxanahadadi.com and also on Blue Sky, right?
Yeah, I'm like, yes, I am on Blue Sky. I am still on the cursed other site. So people can follow me if they would like, or don't. Like, live your truth. It's fine.
Live your truth. If you love Lockjaw, live your truth.
Justin.
Justin,
I
shut
don't
up.
love Lockjaw. Like, by the way, he's a bad guy. I just
Okay.
like see some degree.
Do you remember we were doing the Midsummer episode and you were
Yeah.
like, Christian, the boyfriend has got some qualities. And we
I
were
know,
like,
and
Oh
you
my
and Emily were
God,
both like-
Justin.
You were
Oh my
both like,
God.
I'm gonna put you in a bear suit and burn you
I
alive.
will.
Laura still jokes to this day
About putting you in a bear suit?
yeah.
I think
Wait,
about
I'm
it.
sorry.
I
I
might-
do have one question. Justin, do you feel sympathy for Gerard Butler's character in Den of Thieves?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think he's he's in a tough spot. He's trying to be a dad and also
my God.
take down all these scores. Or,
This
Do you
whole
feel sympathy
podcast
for
is making
Tom
me wonder
Cruise
if we
in
need, like-
Magnolia?
Yes. Oh, totally. I feel sympathy for Tom Cruise in Magnolia. Yeah, the scene where he goes to his dad and is like crying and is like,
Yeah, but
trying
like,
to,
look who he became.
No, I know he's a bad guy. Look, I have
All bad guys have
I can-
hard beginnings,
I
but they're
can
still
have-
bad guys.
Look, I can have sympathy for bad guys. I can have sympathy for good guys. I'm just saying, I got
Yeah,
a lot of
sympathy for guys.
Yeah, women, no sympathy.
No, women terrible.
Yeah, women, jungle
No.
pussies, screw her. She
Okay.
should
Yeah.
have blown
We're
up that
gonna
thing.
need to sign off so we can get some couples therapy, like
Guys, that
ASAP.
was a joke. That was a joke for the listeners. We are at Cows. Now I have to promote the podcast. We are at CowsPod on Twitter and Blue Sky. You can find us on the web at cowspod.com. In 2 weeks, we're talking to Sean Burns about Marty Supreme. So come back and
wow.
check out we're doing a little pingity pong. So that should be fun. We have not yet seen it, so we'll see what happens when we get there.
We'll see how hard we're going to be rooting for Timmy to get the Oscar.
I'm interested. I'm curious. And I will say, I didn't know this when we put this all together, but the Paul Grimstad connection between One Battle and Marty Supreme is very cool. And that is, I reading about Paul Grimstad and one of your friends probably had him in class because you overlapped with
He
him.
did direct
we
studies.
all overlapped with him at Yale. So,
Yeah.
like we don't know him, but like
No, we do not know
very
him.
cool.
Don't pretend
that-
like we know him.
No, we don't know him,
We
but
don't
like
know.
I'll get him on the pod.
Okay.
Paul, you want to come on the podcast?
You and
We
him
will
and
know
Quentin
him, is what
Tarantino.
Justin said.
Yeah, me and QT. But like very cool that he played a character we didn't talk about, but we very much enjoyed on this character, Billy Goat.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever I don't forget his real.
His first name's Howard.
Howard, yeah, Howard Somerville, but Billy Goat or whatever. But anyway, I don't know what I was saying. Marty Supreme, 2 weeks. All right, see you. Bye.